welcome to another
By
session
the
with the dear
way,
sister Singaporean from the PH. How are you? Now, we'll get to the speech right now. Please, would you be so kind as
I
to
thought you
read
were
it all for
asking.
us from the Inquirer, babes? Yes, brought to us by the Inquisitor, nay, the Inquirer of the PH. What a wondrous mechanism this whole company is. Okay.
Mic test.
October 5, 2025, editorial by the Inquirer. Social justice, the key to shared prosperity. Aisha, would you please?
30 years ago, 186 countries met in Copenhagen for the first social summit for social development. The gathering was the largest meeting of world leaders ever held at the time. By the end of the summit, their agenda was clear. The challenges faced by our societies are global, and so are the solutions. In response, governments vowed to put people at the center of global development. They recognized that social justice must be the foundation for economic progress, if progress is to be sustainable. This means ensuring that people, regardless of gender, nationality, background, or place of birth, have the right to live in dignity with equal opportunities to work, thrive, and succeed. Societies built on fairness work better, trust more, and grow stronger. The consensus of the summit became the cornerstone of the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Since 2015, the SDGs have been the blueprint for achieving a socially just, peaceful, and sustainable world. The deadline for their realization was set for 2030. Should I continue?
Let me
Oh my
take this
God,
moment
this is a
to cry.
lot.
No pleasantries, a telling message from the Chinese. Go
Oh.
on.
At first blush, it sounded as though outgoing Chinese Ambassador Wang Xilian was just being pleasant when he addressed Vice President Sara Duterte during China's 76th founding anniversary and his farewell reception. At this moment of parting, I bid farewell to VP Sara Duterte. Madam Vice President, thank you for your support and dedication to China Philippines friendship. Hope our bilateral relations will get back to a sound and healthy track soon, he said. But nothing is accidental in the geopolitical arena and in diplomacy. Every word is deliberate. And in the context of Philippine China relations, especially our current rejection of the latter's expansionist stance and its gray zone tactics, the outgoing ambassador's message is rife with meaning. Huang's words were not just polite farewell words of any ambassador about to leave his post. He looked upon and addressed the vice president fondly and with effusive praise. Under the administration of the VP's father, the Philippines adopted a policy of appeasement toward China. But between 2016 and 2022, Manila leaned away from its traditional partners toward accommodation of China. Despite the maritime tensions it initiated, in fact, the former President Rodrigo Duterte declared that Philippine relations with China at their best during his time.
Okay, learning languages, seeing realities.
I attended the 2025 Speak Dating last weekend, an event celebrating European languages. It came in the form of a fair featuring 18 booths where you could explore different languages, whether you wanted to learn basic phrases or converse with native speakers. Crowds of high school students leaning up to go for quick Slovenian and Hungarian lessons. Maybe we should learn Slovenian and Hungarian
No, thank you.
with neither shyness nor timidity. Herds of college students speaking in halting French or Spanish after their semester of studying the language. Adults gathering in newly formed circles of friends, bonding over the challenges that come with learning a new language as a professional.
You could say the title, please. That would be
I
Baal
want
for
you
all
to
content
say it.
people. Okay. Budget fiasco.
Apart from naked greed and selfish political agendas, a faulty understanding of national budgeting principles may have led our legislators to feel guilt or shame over their unprecedented self serving national budget realignments. Massive amounts reallocated in the 2025 budget to spurious flood control projects came prominently from the defunding of nearly 300 billion in official development assistance or foreign loan funded projects and from relegating them to the unprogrammed budget. This part of the budget, which has ballooned after 2022, is in effect a waiting list of expenditure items that can only push through if unexpected additional funds become available. By implication, these are lower priority expenditures that the country can afford to set aside in favor of those in the main or programmed budget. The problem is, older projects are nothing like that. They are by nature priority projects having passed rigid scrutiny by the interregens,
Clown it up,
inter,
sis.
Interagency Investment Coordination Committee and rigorous technical analysis by the Department of Economy, Planning, and Development, formerly National Economic and Development Authority. They form part of the public investment program accompanying the Philippine Development Plan and are essential to the fulfillment of our PDP goals and targets. For our ODA partners, PIP projects are the shopping list of priority projects from which they can choose what to fund with their soft loans. Loans with lower interest rates and longer grace periods and repayment terms, to be truly responsive to our development goals. These are most certainly not low priority projects we can set aside in favor of budget insertions by legislators, many of which have
Stop!
turned out to be.
Stop. I have seemed to have realized something. I understand better from you the text when you use the US accent. Is that
Oh,
okay?
okay. Stop! These are mostly certainly not low priority projects we can set aside in favor of budget insertions by legislators, many of which have turned out to be ghost projects that put fabulous sums in the pockets of conniving lawmakers, government officials, and contractors, as is now being exposed in full view. Why the seeming lack of hesitation to shove aside counterpart funding for ODA projects despite these having high priority? Most lawmakers don't seem to understand what these counterpart funds really are. A misunderstanding I've found to be common since my days in the government in the 1990s. The term counterpart misleads many, including lawmakers, to think of it simply as the government's equity share in the funding of ODA projects, and that the foreign leader lender's counterpart will still be there to spend even without the government's share. But that is not the case. It's a lot.
Wait, wait, wait.
Ikaw naman,
No, no, no. I like you to say it, please.
you're bored.
I'm not. I'm very interested, in fact.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you haven't read this before I read this?
Nope.
PH Democracy. Is this the end game? Oxford. Everything, everywhere, all at once. That's how I felt shortly before heading out of the country again for yet another academic engagement. Barely a week after returning to the country following my visiting scholar stint in Canada, where I met senior policymakers, academics, and community members from across the country. I, excuse me, I headed out to the United Kingdom
Okay,
to,
okay, I'll give you a break. I headed
okay,
out to the United Kingdom to
to
further hone my public
what you
policy
speaking
analysis
British?
under a Jardine Scholarship at the University of Oxford. Jardine, hello Jardine. Thanks
What?
to the generous and highly competitive scholarship and the impeccable academic environment at Oxford, I looked forward to finally carving out some time to fully focus on research, deep writing, and overall to embracing a measure of scholarly solitude. Truth be told, my mind was tethered to developments back home, especially after an intense week that started with covering the historic trillion peso march, and over the following days, holding long conversations with leading experts and citizens of the country. In fact, just before I flew out of the country, I hosted a quadrilateral episode from my deep dive podcast with former Supreme Chief Court Justice Antonio Carpio, a titan of our West Philippine Sea struggle, former Associate Justice Adolf Azcuna, a leading jurist who helped frame both the 1973 and 1987 constitutions, and former Political Affairs Secretary Ronald Lamas, a rockstar pundit and a beating heart of social democracy in the Philippines. At the core of our discussions was a singular question: are we peering into the abyss? Just as I warned earlier this month, see Fighting Corruption: Brazil's Hard Lessons, September 16, 2025. Comparative Politics in Developing Democracies shows that anti corruption investigations tend to become polarizing, politicized, and ultimately destabilizing. This is especially the case if institutions are weak. Clowns and crooks dominate elected offices, and the public is fed up with continuous cycles of corruption and misgovernance. As dramatic as it has been, the revamp in the government, starting from the change of leadership in both the Senate and the House of Representatives, as well as the comprehensive purge of top leaders in the Department of Public Works and Highways, is far from sufficient. People are asking for blood, and heads have to roll to begin with. The people's outrage is palpable. Blood, blood with a scotch tape marker. Ugh, ah, ow. Okay, so
What?
mm, from
From
journalist
journalist
Cara David to celebrities such as
David.
Iskandar, prominent personalities are openly calling for the literal demise of corrupt officials, of the reinstatement of the death penalty. Sana mamatay sila, bring back the death penalty for corrupt officials, jail even the families. Too little, too late, and too slow. The
It's just a
title
little too
of
late.
today's piece describes a collective reaction to all events unfolding before us, local, national, or international. Our collective stupor has been our way of life for the last two presidential elections. Before Ferdinand Marcos Jr. became president, we had a president who made a killing. Who made killing a normalized disciplinary action for those allegedly involved in the illegal drug trade. Many of us appreciated this, arguing that it was so far the best deterrent to the widespread use of illegal drugs among the youth. When former President Rodrigo Duterte started his term, he vowed to end the illegal drug problem within 6 months. A lot of us applauded him despite his crass and vulgar language whenever he talked about this major affliction among the Filipino population. Not a free meal, but a lifeline. In the Philippines, which is one of the highest rates of stunting in children under 5 years old at 26.7%, higher than the global average of 22.3%, chronic hunger is a problem that threatens future generations. Last July, Senator Kiko Pangilinan filed a bill seeking to address this problem by providing all public school learners from daycare centers, kindergarten to grade 12 with fortified meals for breakfast directly sourced from the produce of local farmers and fisher folk. These meals could provide a lifeline for these poor children. They are not mere ayuda nor free food, but they create ripple effects on the children's health, well-being, and learning abilities. Many countries have launched successful feeding programs. Thailand's school lunch program, which is similar to Pangalinan's measure, has reduced malnutrition and improved academic performance. South Korea's free school meal program, introduced in the early 2010s, has been credited for significantly reducing behavioral issues in schools, and Brazil's national school feeding program has been used as a benchmark for similar programs. Doctors can't stop a genocide, leaders can. What is happening in Gaza is not just a humana, a human menagerie of spiders and giant snakes, elephants, and wild calves. What
What?
is happening in Gaza is the systematic destruction of people. Doctors Without Borders is clear. Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza and doing so with absolute impunity. Each day, our 1,399 MSF colleagues working in Gaza face the devastating reality that they cannot stop a genocide, but world leaders can if they choose to act. As the 2 year anniversary of this relentless and extreme violence approaches, the political choices required to end it are long overdue. We commend Indonesia's leadership in calling out Israel's actions in Gaza, but now is the time to do more.
To do more.
Oh, that is
Da-da-da-da-da.
terrible listening skill. Congratulations, Aisha. Your listening skill is quite top notch. I've got to say, you're a great listener, and I, a terrible one. Appear, disappear.